July 6th, 2021 at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Lyons. Here. Morrell. White.
Here.
Bell.
Here.
Brown. Here. Steelbeck. Bond. Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here. Thank you. I do declare a quorum. At this time, we'll have the invocation by Josh Bell.
Let's pray. Almighty God, we ask that you guide us always. Satisfy the needs that need to be met during this meeting. Strengthen us as we make tough decisions, and I pray that we will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. I pray that we will be fruitful, and we ask that you guide us so that this meeting can be productive. Let us be effective and decisive. Amen.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. There's one item on there, the minutes from the last meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lyons.
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to call over the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, July 6th, 2021 at 6:17. Roll call, please.
Lyons. Here. Morrell. White.
Here.
Bell.
Here.
Brown. Here. Steelbeck. Bond. Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here, thank you. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. There's 6 items on the agenda.
Motion approved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Lyons. Yes. White.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. Item 4, comments assembled pertaining to the items on the city agenda this evening.
Mr. Mayor, we have some visitors today who at least asked me a question about the planning session that we had today. I think it's probably appropriate to say something about that. They have in their hands a copy of the notice that we sent out. We're going to have a planning commission meeting on the 22nd?
Yes.
On the 22nd, and on that day, we're going to consider some rezoning in the Theoretical Woods addition. And today, the Planning Commission met. We're really wanting to just to basically tell them what was coming. And there were lots of good questions asked. There weren't a lot of answers. Quite frankly, the Planning Commission didn't want to hear answers because they don't want to really hear anything until the public hearing, when the public can come. And they were very specific about that. But they did have questions, and they gave a big, long list of questions to us. I mean, a whole page of questions came from the chairman and came from other members. I think the one thing that we got at was that at that rezoning commission hearing, we're going to do some preliminary plating. There's going to be a lot of explanation that is given about this development there. There's going to be exhibits and there's going to be explanation. I made a promise to an engineer out front that prior to that meeting, he works for ODOT, and he said that he'd like to review the plans, him and his team, and particularly with respect to drainage and streets. And I said, we'd love the free work, you know, and he must live out there or have an interest out there. And I said, we will get him those documents. And the Planning Commission made it clear that they weren't going to approve anything until they had all their questions answered, particularly questions pertaining to drainage and to the commercial use that would be there and the like. So I just wanted, there's really no place on the agenda, on this agenda for that, but that's what happened. There really weren't any answers given because they didn't want to hear them until everybody can be present to hear the answers. There's going to be a lot of work that we do between now and then to kind of prepare this up for the public, and we want to give the public plenty of notice. I think the Planning Commission, as I said, made it clear that if they don't get the answers that they want, that they're going to continue this until they get all the answers that we need, that they need in order to make a recommendation.
Well, my biggest concern is that, and I'm Jamie Tallis and I live on Lucas. My biggest concern is that the letters that we all received indicated to us that we needed to have any complaints filed within 3 days prior to the 22nd hearing. in July. And there's no way for us to file complaints if we don't have the information.
Yeah.
How can I know what all these abbreviations and things mean? Do I need to contact Brian Henry or to find the answers to
Well,
that?
you could call Brian Henry, but if you oppose it, it's really just it's kind of a ministerial thing. You submit, and there doesn't really have to be any proper form, a letter from the owner saying, I hereby protest, this rezoning, filed with the city clerk. What we do is we take those and we add those up, but certainly we're willing to answer questions. Brian Henry would be a good guy to answer questions, but what we're going to try to do, because this has evoked a lot of interest, in social media and a lot of discussion at the Planning Commission meeting. We're going to try to get more information out to the public, maybe stories in the newspaper and/or maybe additional mailers.
Well, for those of us who don't get the newspaper, that's not terribly helpful. If we get additional mailers, that'd be great.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
But
because-
that's what you need to do, and it's 3 days before the date of that hearing. All you gotta do is, like I said, bring a letter in and go, I hereby protest. What happens if you protest? It takes 7 members of the city council to approve the zoning, rather than just 5. Okay? But there'll be more information, and there'll be hopefully more mailers, because we want to provide plenty of notice here. This isn't going to be, there's no intent to rush this, okay?
Well, there wasn't notification in any way other than possibly the newspaper that there was a meeting earlier tonight. So that was my biggest concern, was that I had no way of being here to ask questions of them.
Yeah, we followed the Open Meeting Act in having that special meeting. I think that the Planning Commission, in order that everybody could hear the answers at the same time, okay, they weren't interested in answers. They were interested in asking questions. And so, although we met for 15 minutes or almost an hour, what it was administration writing down the questions and ensuring that those answers, they were very careful. And there was somebody here that could have answered them, but they didn't want them answered until the public had come, till the date of the public hearing.
But they will, at that public hearing,
Absolutely.
the 22nd, vote to do the rezoning?
Well,
They'll vote to postpone it, or-
all they do is recommend.
Okay.
Okay, but they could make a recommendation, but if they're not satisfied, I'm sure that they'll continue the item to consider it at another time and then to take it up. Like I said, this is going to be a deliberate, this is going to be a subdivision, so there's going to be preliminary plats, final plats, there's rezoning involved, it's involved, and we're going to make sure that there's plenty of notice. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Right. Hey, go ahead.
I'm not here for either one of
Okay,
those.
I just wanted to say something to George. George, I know you come in late. That meeting's the 22nd at 5:30, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead, Dave.
But I don't know if it's old, new.
Go ahead. Step to the podium, please.
Hi, I'm Penny Pryor, and I own 1302 North 2nd Street here in Perry, and I have a very, very bad flood problem. We flooded again a week ago last Saturday, and we've got an attorney. My daughter will read a letter.
Dear City Council members, my mother Penny Pryor and I have lived at 1302 North 2nd Street, Perry, Oklahoma for over 26 years, as of last April. Over these 26 years, our home has flooded multiple times. However, the flooding is over 26 years. Over the last 26 years, our home has flooded multiple times. However, the flooding is becoming more and more frequent. The water runs towards and through our property every time it rains. It is not a 1,000-year flood or a 500-year flood. It is every time it rains. 2019, my home flooded 4 times in 3 weeks. It also, when I last talked to any city council members, if anyone in this matter, unless, I have not talked to anyone from the city council members over this matter, unless it's catastrophic emergency. I've been asking members for city help. Look at, see, every time I come. I have been asking members of the city for help for many years without any responsive action. I have talked to city mayors going back to Leo Rowling, Chuck Hall, Gordon Johnson, as well as Bill Stroller. I started this off with Larry Purnell with Gordon Johnson twice. Now I am 2 years in with Bill Stroller and still nothing. Now due to nothing being done, my home was flooded again on Saturday, June 26, 2021. I have brought in $850 worth of dirt, gutters with outspouts to divert water. Just put down my third wood flooring, painted the inside of my house, flooring, roof, had to replace my furniture, the rug, which got wet all over again, had to pull up both my vanities in the bathroom due to the mold. Now facing the same things. This is unacceptable. Due to the junk, dirt, rock, and trash that accumulates in front of my home, I have to call the city to come clean it up. We have been doing the same routine for 25 years. Now I can't even get the city to come do their job and clean the street. They tell me the front loader is broke. Point being, if I need a front loader to come clean up in front of my house, we have a major problem. Now so the kids can't even play in front of the street. They can't ride their scooters or the skateboards. I feel that my neighbors are being punished because the city don't want to fix their drains. So the kids are suffering in my neighborhood because of the lack of drainage. We are a residential area, not the middle of Fur. The water leaks up on Maple that has been there since April, that floods in front of my house is ridiculous. I have called, the Wilbies have called. The water sits in front of my house and stinks and makes a huge puddle, so when it rains, it's sure to come over the curb. It attracts mosquitoes, fleas, bugs. All the kids come and play in it. Now the city is saying it could be a spring. Is the water mixed with the sewer? Has anyone checked on it? With all my mom's health issues, so can we be sure the water that is running down the road that mixes with the rainwater is not contaminated according to the DEQ? So as I was told by my lawyer, Isaac Morris, that he received a phone call from Bryce stating that you guys have a drainage project. Excuse me if I'm a little guarded over the news. I've been told many things over the years and nothing has been done yet. However, I need something done now to protect my home and what I still own. I need a timeline or arrangements to figure out a way to divert the water. This is not a new problem. You all have known about these water issues since this housing addition was built. You are still letting people sell these homes without telling the new buyers that these homes are flooded. Shame on you. I will not sell my home to someone else so they can go through the same heartache as I have. Bill, I told you about Rick Connick going to sell his house and move. You said good, let him. Well, he did. Now we have another empty house in the neighborhood.
I never said good, let him.
You said let him move. That's exactly what came out of you.
No, I never said
I'm not arguing with you. Another good homeowner in our neighborhood is gone. So like Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Ponca City, if the water issues can't be fixed, let's talk about a buyout. Another thing, why can't we shut down that road? The only two people that drive in my driveway is Sherry Wilde across the street and me. I called the police department to come up to see if they could do anything. They stand underneath my carport with all their rain gear while I'm out in in the easement with a shovel in the middle of a rainstorm, shoveling away for the water to drain down so it doesn't go through my house. I don't understand why I can't get any help, not even help to make the cars go around. You can get around 2 different ways around the whole neighborhood without driving through the water puddle where the water sits. Everybody in their trucks want to run up and down that road so the water inundates my home. I have pictures. Any of you council members want to see videos, pictures? I have tons of pictures. Sherry Wilde got a picture. It's a river at my house. There's no way I can stop any of the water now. It's coming over all of the curbs, the front curb, the side curb. Nothing I can do. Even the $1,000 worth of dirt I brought in isn't stopping anything. It's nothing. I don't understand why I can't get any help from nobody. What else do you want us to do? We're 2 people. This is it. And she fights every day to breathe. She's on an oxygen machine. What do you want? This is what you got to look at. I've offered to meet you guys 100%. Bill, you know I've told you, I will meet you, I will put everything, I will take a second out on the house to meet you guys in the middle. Nobody comes and talks to me. Not my council members. You called me one time, never heard back from either one of you all. What am I supposed to do? I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk about you guys. I just want to be able to go to sleep when it storms like everybody else. I want my mom to feel safe in her home if I'm not home and it's raining. Just the simple things in life is all I want. I busted my butt for a year and painted my home myself. Where we at, guys? It's been years. I'm tired. I need some help, and I get this. I get nothing. You tell me you're gonna call, you don't call. You don't call, I call you. I come to see you. You drive by. You told me you was gonna call Mr. Mayor, you've never called me, not one time. Not once. I need answers. We need to figure this out. We've got to figure this out.
I believe we gave answers to your lawyer. You lawyered up. We gave answers to your lawyer.
No, you didn't. You called him and said there's a plan in action, and these are the steps we're gonna take. I need a deferment away from my house, because look at he talked to you guys on the Friday, my house flooded that Saturday. I've got plenty of pictures if you wanna see the water inside my house. Sherry Wilde took video standing across the street where the water was coming over your streets. I couldn't get out of my home. If she would have walked outside, she would have been washed down the street. We couldn't get out. I can't control that water. It's in the housing project that you all allowed to be built there. We had nothing to do with it. That house flooded before we bought it, and she wasn't told. Or she wouldn't
It was
have.
a no flood zone.
That's why I can't even get
When I
insurance.
bought it 26 years ago, it wasn't in the papers that it had ever flooded. So I had no idea, or I would have never bought it.
My grandfather was a #1 real estate agent in California. They would have never bought it. Never.
I'm not stupid.
Attached to the email that I sent Isaac was the engineering plan from it's MKEC, at least to the extent, that they've done an engineering plan at this point. I suppose we could have them come to our meeting and present that. The issue, like I told Isaac, is funding, funding that plan. But we have spent, I don't know, what have we spent with MKEC on this? Maybe thousands and thousands of dollars, I assume?
Yeah, it's been an issue as long as I've been.
Yeah. So, and we've done the plan, and he's got a hierarchy or MKEC has set out, what the plan involves. I didn't spend the time to review the plan. If I did, then I could tell you what it is, but that's really not my function, and the council, shouldn't have me read those, but we could certainly have a member here and talk to us. The plan would serve more than just Ms. Wallace, right?
Mhm.
Is that correct? Yeah. And it would serve more than her. It would serve, folks in that community. And we should probably see, we did finish our budget. We do have dollars. How much money do we have for drainage in our drainage fund? Do you have that?
Well, I pay a drainage fee every month, and I don't even have drainage.
Yeah.
It drains through my home. So I've been paying y'all 26 years for my house to flood.
Bryce, I don't know it off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, there are funds that we collect, like the fund or the fee that you pay for that, and this has been an issue. So let's hear from them. And the council would like an executive summary of what that plan is, wouldn't they? Yeah. So we'll bring that to you at the next meeting. Dixie, would you put that down? Yeah.
And it's the next meeting.
It will be 14 days from today.
14 days?
Yeah, 2 weeks from,
From
well, actually from yesterday.
I was
'cause
gonna
we meet
say,
on
it's from
Mondays.
yesterday.
We meet on Mondays,
Okay,
okay?
okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. What can we do about this? Do I need to come talk to you?
Based on the May financials, it was $251,000 in the drainage fee.
So we have money there.
Because they said that I thought the police department.
Do we have a project?
I don't know. I don't know.
Huh.
We're talking about the street.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot of them. Yeah.
They have finished survey work, probably use.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we had to do that.
Right, yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
yes.
Anyone else?
Yes.
George?
Don't approach that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm leaving, don't worry. Thank you.
Well, I got a notification of what was gonna be done, and I get that. I'm George Savala, I'm the guy that owns the house right next to the field. And I'm all for this town to get houses, I'm all for this town to grow, I'm all for a lot of things, but I didn't think it was very nice that something has been done, and I didn't know that we were gonna zone that area commercial. I mean, no, I never received a notification. That's one thing I have to say. The other thing is, on the detail of the drawings that I'm looking at right now, so the storage buildings, which way we're gonna face them? Are they gonna be running east and west? Are they gonna be running north and south? Are they, I mean, I like to see some detail, because I don't want cars pulling into that place, shining the lights into my house. I mean, I'm hoping for some other things to happen, but plan A, plan B, and plan C, we all gotta do that. So, it's down to the point to where if it happens, I'm down to where I want the back of those buildings to face my house. I want a wall along there, and it can be from the building. I'm okay with that, if it comes down to that, which I hope it doesn't, but if it does. And some of the things that I'm concerned about on the north side, my plan is to talk to the developer and say, hey, let's put up a fence up front. I'm willing to work with people. I think most of you that know me, I'm very flexible, I'm very, I like to work with people, and I want this town to grow. But I have to do some things that I'm okay with also. So I would like to look at the drawings, not just the general, hey, this is commercial, okay? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna do it? So ask that you guys take a look at that, and we'll go from there.
I think, George, the way they talked in that planning commission on the 22nd, they're gonna bring plat maps back, and we'll have all that laid out,
Okay.
for everybody can see that.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of those same questions
Right.
that the planning commission kinda had.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, people want to know how it's gonna lay in there, how it's gonna say.
As you know me, I'll put up an 8-foot fence and I'll put electricity on top of it. I'll do it. But, like I said, I want to work with you guys, but, I want you guys to be fair with me too, and put your shoes in my position, And I'm spoiled. I'm used to looking at that field, okay? So, and I'm greedy. But anyways, those are some of the things that I want to talk about. I want detail as to how we're going to do this, okay? And that's all I got. Anybody has anything else to say? No? Alrighty then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
Any other comments? Okay. Item 5, proclamation and combination reports by the proclamation, combination reports inquiries by the governing body. Hearing none, we'll move to item 6, the city manager's comments.
We have 12 tournaments at BMAC scheduled for this year. And this weekend was the third rain out. So we were pretty good with just one, but now that we've got 3, it's not turning out to be the tournament season that we really were hoping for. But tonight started regionals. Folks we have 7 teams from Purcell, Cheyenne, Stillwater, Shawnee, Bing, Dibble, and Perry. in town to play for the next 4 days. So we're excited about that. That's going to be good. Field looks exquisite. And kudos to the staff out there with Lee Armin and Tiffany Gardner. So we're excited about that. That's about all I've got, though. Thank you.
Any questions for Larry? All right, we'll move to item 7. Bear with me, I can barely see tonight. Consider approval of ordinance number 2021-08 of the City of Perry, or City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 10 of the Perry Municipal Code 2020 by the provisions of Amendment Article 12 to be entitled Regulating the Use of Tobacco Products and/or Vapor Products and/or Marijuana Products on the municipal property in indoor and outdoor areas and other prohibited conduct by prohibiting marijuana products at the same places and locations where tobacco and vapor products are prohibited, providing for Section 10-1201 entitled Tobacco-Free, Marijuana-Free, and city-owned and operated buildings and real properties located within the corporate limits of the City of Perry, providing for Section 10-1202 entitled Definitions, providing for the Section 10-1203 entitled Prohibition for tobacco products and marijuana products and vapor products on the city-owned and operated properties within the corporate limits. Prohibited conduct, providing for Section 10-1204 entitled Posting, provisions for Section 10-1205 entitled Enforcement, Repealer, Savings, Codification, Severability, and Penalty, and declaring an emergency.
So you already have ordinances declaring buildings and parks and other places tobacco-free and vapor-free. State law provides that you can do that. It also provides that your local ordinance can't be any more restrictive than what state law is. That's something that the tobacco group got. You know, you can't be inventive or broaden it at all. So our ordinance on vapor and tobacco meet the state law. But, you know, I was thinking, you know, well, what about marijuana? You know, marijuana came by way of this initiative, you know, that came in and it got adopted, and then the state legislature said that cities could adopt reasonable zoning restrictions, which is, you know, what we did. We allowed all types of dispensaries, but we certainly allowed it, and then, you know, now that it was allowed, the state went into that law on vapor and tobacco and added marijuana, you know, and so authorized us to do it. So what does this ordinance do? Well, what it does is it just, and the way I did it, rather than go through and underline and delete, you know, what's being added, to save time and to save you money, I just, you know, zipped out what you have. If you look at it, it's pretty much precisely what you have, but adding marijuana-free, marijuana smoking and marijuana vapor is not allowed where you can't smoke tobacco or do vaporing. That's essentially what we've done. I did add one part that I don't think we had. Let me check that. Yeah, it was added to the state law, and that was, you know, you got a 1 bite rule now. If you look at page 4, the City of Perry at a minimum will do the following things to prohibit tobacco, marijuana on city property. You know, under this ordinance, it's that third thing. You ask them to stop. You know, now, if it's marijuana, you know, you can ask, you know, stop. Do you have a license? Because you can't be smoking it without a license. But that's in state law, and so, you know, what we did is we picked that up. That got picked up. That applies both to tobacco and marijuana. So what we do first is we say, stop. You need to understand you can't smoke in here. And then, of course, if they don't, then you can fine them. So that's really what we have here. Somebody asked me a question. Okay, marijuana free. Can I eat I need some gummies as I walk through Lyon Park. You know, well, I wasn't going to, you know, marijuana-free, I wanted to say that, tobacco-free, I wanted to say that. I didn't want to authorize the, except for gummies, you know, that it's actually just the smoke. But, you know, it probably is. You know, it probably is. If you've got a gummy bear in your pocket and you're walking through the park and you can stick it in your mouth, you're probably not going to get any problem, because this is. But I wasn't going to define that in this ordinance and permit it. So I would just tell the police chief is here. You know, the smoking is what we're after. Vapor is what we're after. Marijuana, tobacco, vapor, and you know, if you've got that. You know, have your officers always ask if they've got the card, and then tell them that it's not allowed. And then if they stop, you can move ahead with a citation or, you know, whatever's proper. So that's that ordinance. Questions? Pretty simple.
Yeah, the language is almost identical to the state's.
Yeah, yes it is.
Yeah,
Yes it is.
so, but I think there is a clause in the state policy though, and there's something about, I'm not suggesting that we do this, but I felt like they did define edibles a little bit more in detail, specifically in public places.
Well, they didn't define it in this act.
That's what I
Okay?
thought. Okay.
They didn't define it in this act, and, because, I mean, I looked, I mean, I pulled out the
Yeah.
deal and looked. You know, really where it got to is, you know, we've got this, at the splash pad, the pool, and, you
Right.
know, what if, you know, 18-year-olds decided to go down there and have a pot party, you know? Let me tell you, under existing law, I mean, we don't have a penalty. It's not against the law here, so if you pass this, it will be.
Cool.
I'm certainly for it, but I do think, in there you also said to post signs, and I think in public parks, and especially like on the courthouse park, there really needs to be signs posted to make sure people know exactly.
That's from state law.
And
I
it's
mean,
in there,
that's, yeah, and that's from
But,
state
you
law.
know,
We need to do
We don't
that.
want to neglect.
Right, we don't need to neglect that. I agree.
But I would make a motion, we pass this.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Kolar.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Motion on emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
But we don't have
White.
seven.
Yes.
Oh, that's
We
right.
don't have
So
seven. We don't have
it
seven.
doesn't really matter.
So we'll have to publish it or bring them, well, we gotta publish it within 15 days, so we'll publish the whole ordinance. So now we have one that might be subject to referendum.
True. Finish calling that out.
Yeah, but we don't have enough votes even if they all vote, so.
I just think it's
Item 8, consider approval of the renewal of FY 2021-2022 Workers' Compensation Plan renewal with OMAG and for premium of $162,717. I authorize a payment of $40,679.50 and use of escrow of $40,041 toward the first quarterly payment.
The use of escrow we've done for the first quarterly payment, we've done it in the past, haven't we?
Actually, I've always kind of banked that. I think last year we used it. That was previous to last year. We always kind of rebanked it. But
Any motion, council?
Is this normally what we do, and has there been an increase in that rate?
I don't know that.
But there wasn't much of a rate from, increase from last year. as you can see, that escrow payment is very close to what our quarterly payment is. And I think last year, this is what we did, we applied it.
Exactly, that's what I was.
So I just did it again. I mean, that's how the council voted last year.
I'll make a motion, we approve it as presented.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. White.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Colburn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 9, consider approval of ordinance number 2021-09 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 15 of the Perry Municipal Code 2020 entitled Traffic and Vehicles by the addition of a new section 15-308 entitled Golf Cart Regulations, providing for savings, severability, repealer, codification, penalty, and effective date, and declaring an emergency.
Yeah, just briefly, we're doing a little easement in a subdivision to ease golf carts access into the country club. It brought up the issue of golf carts, and there is state law. I gave you a copy of the state law on it. And it says that if you are going to allow golf carts on the streets and roads, you have to have an ordinance, okay? So, I think we brought this up before. I think this was 9 years ago or something.
could up to Locust Street. Was that not right?
And it never got adopted. The golf court ordinance really never got, cart ordinance never got adopted. But we just kind of tolerated, we tolerated it if it was kind of to and from the golf course. And I mean, the thought here is if we're going to allow it, we probably need to follow state law and have some kind of regulation. I mean, I cranked out the old regulation, and then the police chief modified it, quite frankly, to make it more restrictive in part and less restrictive in part. I mean, pretty much this ordinance is if you're going to be going around in a golf cart, you need to be golfing. It needs to be associated with golfing. We're just not allowing you to run up and down the streets as an alternative means of transportation.
Well, Bryce, whenever I was in the office the other day and the three of us were talking, we decided on Locust Street, and this says Grove. What changed that?
The chief told me Grove.
Yeah, we tried to talk boundaries and then we stopped it at Grove so you can't cross the state highway first. So Grove North, you can to and from the golf course in that area as long as it was not crossing the main highway.
But you guys can do whatever you want here, I mean, you can amend, this, or maybe you can't. I mean, there's a new there's a new Supreme Court case, okay? And we're gonna start amending our agendas. I sent that to you today. It's a good time to note it. Down in Norman, they had a budget resolution that they put up to approve, and they amended the budget because they amended an appropriation or something of the budget resolution. And the FOP filed a lawsuit, a violation of the open meeting law with the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that you didn't tell the public that that budget resolution was subject to being amended. And Norman said, yeah, okay, well, it says consider approval of the budget, but then we gave them copies of the deals. They were up on our webpage. We said that we might consider this and this and these amendments. And they said, we don't care. We don't care. 9-0, we don't care. So I've got some language that it'd probably be safer. If you don't like this, don't approve it. Probably be safer, because I've got new language that's going to go up at the top of the agenda, which says every agenda item
You're going to say the golf cart ordinance.
is subject to being amended, changed, modified, so that the public knows, to come, and hopefully that will meet the Supreme Court case. So quite frankly, at this point, I wouldn't recommend approving it. If you wanted to change it, I would bring it back and do that. But, you know, we say you gotta have driver's licenses and liability insurance. I think we said that costs about $200 per year.
I called my insurance agent thinking your golf cart would be covered under your homeowners. They said, yeah, it's covered at home. If you're out on a public street, you need liability insurance. I said, give or take, what is that? And he does policies, and he said it's an average of like $17 a month for liability insurance on your golf cart.
We also looked at, state law says, you know, you gotta have lights, you know, well, that's because, you know, they can be operated at night. So what we did is we limited ours to sunrise and sunset, because most, you know, golf carts don't have lights in the front of them. And if they're going golfing, and if it's specific streets, and they carry liability insurance, and they have driver's license, and heck, we've been doing this for years, apparently, without this ordinance, and it's been without incident, right?
Yeah, it's been without an ordinance. It's just been the general rule. We see people going to and from the golf course. That's
okay.
why they, you know.
We're not gonna require permits, we're not gonna require, you know, paying for permits, it's just we're gonna comply with state law. We're gonna restrict them between sunrise and sunset, so we don't think lights would be necessary. That's the ordinance.
You all that have golf carts, I mean, is it common, Brian, to have liability insurance on a golf cart?
No, but then you're not supposed to be on the streets with them either.
Well, the other thing, I mean, just as an example, there was the fireworks show. Everybody was out after dark and drove their carts home after dark.
Most Monday nights.
Yeah, almost
Mine
every
doesn't come
Monday
home
night.
after dark.
I mean,
So,
that's way over restrictive compared to practical use.
Actually, I didn't say playing golf, but only when traveling to and from the Perry Country Golf Course property is the language.
Right.
Okay, so if you're going to the country club for swimming, or you're going there for an event, as long as you're going to and from there, that's the rule.
Bryce, what they're talking about though, Monday night's what they call men's night, and they start around 5:30. Sometimes it goes into dark. Now it's dark, they're at the course, now they got to get home. And we kind of wrote an ordinance as far as sun up, sun down. You know, we took out the lights because a lot of people don't have lights. If you add lights to a golf cart, you're looking at $500 to $600 just to add headlights and taillights to a golf cart. And that's why we said, the way it was written up first, police chief was supposed to inspect every golf cart to make sure it met lights, taillights, all that stuff. I said, just take that out to where we don't want to send out permits for each golf cart in the city of Perry, just run it sun up to sun down. But I do see the problem. It's not all the time, but there is times at night.
Well, I would prefer the lights to comply with, with that state law. I mean, we're kind of saying, okay, we don't need to do that because, we're running, but you know how people will run. So I don't know, it's your ordinance, and all we're doing is saying we probably ought to adopt something because that's what state law says, so.
Here's the other question.
Is it a state law that you have to be 16 to drive them?
No, it isn't, no.
Because I find a
No.
problem with that.
No,
being
that's
that
not
Several
in-
of us have kids that, mine are gonna be on a freshman golf team. They drive a golf cart up there and then they walk the course or they
Right.
go swimming. There's a lot of kids around the golf course and we encourage them to go out and play. We're at work, as long as they're not causing problems. This is not like as you said, that this was 9 years ago that this has been brought up and still hasn't been done. You'd be limiting a lot of kids, and that's one of the benefits of being part of the country club, is to be able to use the swimming pool, and some of them even use it. There's a lifeguard there during work hours where kids can get there and swim.
Winoka went as low as 14, but they had the police chief up there watch them operate the carts. I mean, the rules are yours. I mean, that's what the law says, the pursuant to an ordinance, okay? So the rules are yours.
I get that we need an ordinance, that's fair. I don't know if, with something that has not had incident, knock on wood, whatever you want to do, I think this is fairly over restrictive for what we need. Not to mention it does declare an emergency, and
Yeah, we
we probably
can't do
need to
that.
hold it over. anyway.
Yeah, and if we're gonna change any of it, which we probably should, we should probably continue this to the next meeting till we get that language up on the agenda notifying the public that these ordinances are subject to amendment. I don't wanna offend.
Is there something specific that happened that?
No, by state law, it's against the law to ride it on the street, it's not tagged. But we've always had an agreement, just people going to and from, a lot of people live in the area so they can take their carts. Honestly, there's not, you know as well as I do, not everybody that owns a cart in this town can keep it at the country club.
Right.
Well, not everybody that owns one has lights because they didn't have to.
That's what I'm saying, we took the light portion out because I didn't want to have people spend $600 just to add lights to their golf cart. So it's sun up to sundown.
But I don't think that's necessarily, that's not a, if you want to be able to drive it at night, put lights on it.
Yeah, I mean, you could, LSVs are legal, those low-speed vehicles that you can actually tag and have
Right.
on the streets.
Mine is
legally.
actually like that.
But golf carts are, by law, not supposed to be on a public street or highway, period.
I
But
get it.
we're trying to get an ordinance to where something happens, well, our ordinance, we have an ordinance that you can drive your golf cart. Right now, there's no ordinance. We just need
I
something.
tend to agree a little bit with what you guys are saying about your age thing, but I do think there needs to be some kind of age limit somewhere.
Well, the country club, you cannot drive a golf cart on the golf course unless you have a permit or a driver's license. There's been times, because if something happened to somebody on the course and they're 12, 13 years old driving a cart, their insurance would skyrocket, because that's why they set the guidelines at the club. Gotta have a driver's license or a permit.
I don't want the city to be held liable.
Now, that was my next thing. We, at least twice in here, take the liability away from it. There's at least 2 paragraphs in there that the city will not be held liable. Is that?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
that's the way I wrote it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how restrictive we need to get, considering the city is.
Well, I just don't
I
want
don't
there
want
to be
any-
an accident. We say, why didn't we?
I agree. I don't want
Like
any
let the
child
5-year-old
hurt.
drive.
I'm not,
But you can get a
No.
motorcycle permit at what age?
14.
14. So, if you said permit, permit for motorcycle, or, that would at least drop it to 14.
the other,
Get you closer.
we're nitpicking here, but if I wanted to stand up on the back of my cart, we couldn't with this. There's several things that, to me, is just, it's my safety. I need to be responsible for myself, right?
Yeah, but society wants everybody to tell them how to be safe nowadays.
15 years I've been with the police department, we've never wrote a ticket.
I know
You
that.
know,
I'm
so
just,
I mean, it's always been, but we
I
do
think
get
that's-
calls all the time about kids riding through neighborhoods and they're not playing golf, they're using it as a commute vehicle to get them to and from, and that's not what it's really designed for, and I don't want to see any kid.
I don't even.
I see them all the time run stop signs, they don't know those traffic laws, and just takes that one.
I've seen them
and they're
run
gonna
the
say, "Why
stop
didn't
sign
y'all
there at
pull
Ninth
over?"
and Locust, Ninth and Wakefield, several times.
Yeah, I just don't want it on our watch that a kid gets hit
Adults,
and we don't have
adults
an
do that
ordinance.
as well.
Yeah, I know.
Don't follow me home.
And those things,
Huh?
I said, don't follow me home.
those things probably do need to be accounted for in what we adopt, which I believe it is, if I recall correctly. You have to adhere to any
Traffic laws.
traffic laws. Those things are completely, yes, we need to do that. And we shouldn't be running stop signs on a golf cart or a bicycle for that matter. Which I believe you have to do on a bicycle, right? You're supposed to stop at a stop sign.
Do you need
So-
that language to be able to give a citation for that? Because at that point, you've already gone against the law when you ran the stop
Well,
sign.
it's not a motor vehicle. That's why you've got to have that rule
But if you do it
You
on
have
a
to follow
bicycle,
motor
can't you still get a
vehicle
ticket?
rules.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, well, you do that, but, you know,
Let me ask you this real quick. What separates this? I mean, it's a motor vehicle, right? From
No.
the bicycles now.
no, this isn't a motor vehicle.
Oh, you mean the motorized?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have, oh.
Those are
now
under
you're
50
talking
cc, and if they have means of pedaling, you don't have to have them tagged.
And there's new state law on mopeds, on the street. So, I mean, if there's any of that going on, you know, I mean, a lot of communities are just setting them out, setting those electric ones out. You can walk by and get it. So this particular law, I think I included it. Yeah.
You see those guys.
I mean, it's
the gas
zipping from
powered
side to side
motorcycles here in town.
Over through, you know.
Yeah, it talks about mopeds. You can broaden this out and let me see, was that attached?
So if I put pedals on the cart?
I don't see it.
I've seen that. I can pedal with my own feet.
I want to see it.
Yeah, but
Put a
never
hole in the
do.
floor. I have had to pedal, I've had to push my cart.
I like it.
I was gonna say ours was dead today. I told
Hey,
her.
I don't know,
You're right.
I have a really, I'm not gonna say I don't have a golf cart, I do, it's like really old, don't run. I let my kid take it to the golf course one time with him and his buddies, and they towed it home, and I don't know what happened, what was there, and it's broke, but, I mean, are there different size motors for golf
There's either
courses?
battery or gas.
Okay,
Each,
And you can probably tow it home because you had a battery cart and it probably went.
no, it was gas,
Put gas in it.
I had gas.
Ran out.
I've not ever got the story, you don't send certain teenage boys to the golf course when you golf.
they may have a little bit different between brands, but it's not,
But it's all pretty similar.
pretty much.
I just felt like it was a pretty big deal since there hadn't been an incident.
Yeah, it's pretty restricted since we haven't.
Like I didn't.
But you see why we need an ordinance. If something does happen and we don't have an ordinance, then
No, I get
we
that.
just need
Yeah.
something in place
We were
saying,
wide open.
these are our rules in Perry and
Well, it's actually legal right now.
it's.
I mean, it's, well, there is,
Everyone's doing it.
don't do it, I mean, according to law.
I always hate the law, the rule, or not the law, I always hate the concept of let's wait till someone gets hurt and then we'll make a law, you know? I hate that idea.
But it's always been an officer's decision whether we write tickets or not, but like you said, there's really no problem going to it from the course, and we don't pull people over for it, it's just kind of, but we need something in place just to cover the city as far as, because we do have an ordinance, yeah, you can legally drive your golf cart, now you can't, but if we have an
I mean,
ordinance.
if
we
you
can't.
find some 10-year-old kids going down through town,
We don't want that.
I mean, you're gonna go to the parents and go, look,
Hey,
this
You can't
can't
do it.
happen, you know?
we're not towing their golf carts, we're
Yeah.
not writing them tickets, it's just a safety issue. We never have wrote a ticket one time, so.
I don't know, are you gonna pull them over and say, let me see your insurance?
Gunpoint.
Huh?
Pull them at gunpoint. No, it's just, we just need something to cover the city. This is all this is.
But with this, are they gonna be required to have the insurance?
That's up to you guys. I mean, that's just the ordinance that was sent, and we kind of went through it saying, well, we don't want permits. I didn't want to have to go house to house and inspect everybody in town's golf carts when it first was rode up. I said, just get rid of the headlights, sun up, sun down. But be on a street, it probably is kind of like getting renter's insurance. You don't have to get insurance, but it's probably safer. I'd almost put liability on it if you want to, just in case something did happen. Your golf cart's covered insurance-wise on a public street instead of your home. That's up to you guys as far as how you want to redo the ordinance.
I think you're gonna have a lot more people upset with us that there's not room for them to have a golf cart at the country club now.
No, there
And
is
we've
no-
written an ordinance that says you have to have insurance or lights, or you have to be home before dark. Well, great, then half the other people that get to have a cart there, then they can stay as long as they want.
Yeah,
That's
they
gonna be
leave
a
it there, they
problem.
leave it there, yeah, I mean.
And then the monkey's gonna be on our back that the country club doesn't have enough room, and now it's our fault because of the restrictions that we have written.
I'm only hearing like 3 massive complaints. I'm hearing the timing, the lights, and the age. I didn't hear any other complaints. Am I misunderstanding that?
Timing, lights. and-
Right, sunrise to
Timing, indoor
sunset was
lights,
the
yeah,
issue, the
like-
lights, and then the age.
Well, liability
and
insurance.
liability insurance.
So what
I guess
if
we
we,
can
so what
recommend
if we
it doesn't
remove
look
the
good.
insurance, okay? And then we provide that 14 permit or license. And then, lights, if you got them, you can drive after dark or before. If you don't, it's sunrise to sunset. I mean,
Can you put recommendations in there? Because it would be, I mean, not everybody knows that you're not covered, just like you were thinking.
well, I'll tell you what we can put
There
in.
you go, I like this.
We can put in a required, just like we did in the smoking, that the first thing they have to do is inform. You can't write a ticket until you inform.
No, I was meaning, I want to, that's actually what I want to inform the public, that your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover you on the street.
Yeah.
That's the
So
main
we
thing.
would
I
be
mean,
recommending
if we're not going to
liability.
require it, I want to make sure that people understand that.
It's also important that they know it's illegal right now,
Well,
that we've been doing it on the courtesy of then the discretion of the police department. It's illegal to drive on city streets with a golf cart, like regardless how we feel and how things have passed, it's the law. So it's making this gives us the opportunity to cover ourselves in a lot of ways, and then we can amend this as needed.
Anytime you want.
Anytime.
the big thing for the city is liability. which
Yeah,
we're
we are
covering
wide
here.
open, like wide open right now.
How do y'all feel about Bryce keeps talking about a permit, 14-year-old with a permit? I don't, how old are your girls?
14.
Are they gonna go get a motorcycles permit?
Nope.
Yep.
If they know how to drive a tractor and a combine and everything else, I'm pretty sure they can handle.
Yeah, so I'm saying, I would rather
But
say
you can pull them over if
14
you
years
want.
of age rather than a 14-year-old with a permit. I mean, no one's gonna send their kid to get a motorcycle permit to be able to drive a golf cart.
I agree. Honestly, I feel like it's a good way for them to learn at a slower speed and learn the traffic laws. I don't want any kid hurt. I don't. I mean, I agree. I mean, I understand that completely. But as long as they're supervised and taught, it's not a bad thing.
Well, like I said, in Winoka, they permit 14-year-olds, but there is a permit and there is a process where, they have to,
Well, the Popo, they don't do anything anyway. You guys have to put on a little permit school for the 14-year-olds, right?
Get a driver's class
Can you do
test.
that at the golf course? Tell me. First Saturday of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm not a member,
No permit.
and I respect what you guys are saying, so
Teach it.
what happens, I mean,
It's
do
not-
the kids respect it to be 16 years old, you can't drive on the court? I mean, will someone jerk them off the course right there?
They have to.
Well, Davis won't allow it. I mean, there's 2 boys right now that they're actually employed with the golf course. They drive their carts to the course. They actually play golf. They're on the golf team. Now, one of them's got a license now, the other one does not. But they're riding, they go to work because they mow all day at the golf course. And they don't get on this public street at all. They just cut across. They live in the Fairway Edition anyway, so. But yeah, Davis, he's pretty strict on
Now,
kids.
I understand it's a kind of different subject, but there's fixing to be a cart path
Yeah,
from the fairway.
yeah.
No,
Our kids live a couple of blocks down, and they would go pick up their friend Megan. They go, all 3 of them, and then they'll carry their carts or they'll carry their bags once they get there on the cart. But it's not like they could lug those all the way down the street from our house. So it would be
Sure,
taken
they
that way
can't
from
make
them.
them tough.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it.
If
so I
your
wouldn't.
grandma played golf, she didn't ride a golf cart, okay? She walked 3 miles both ways uphill.
Hey, there's a reason why we bought 2 golf carts in our family.
the other, I mean, I use mine to go over to, not because I I have a vehicle that's insured, and like I said, I'll probably insure my golf cart. But to go to other people's houses too. I mean, I don't know that, I think that's a good thing, is, if a neighborhood wants to have a gathering that's not necessarily at the golf course, that they can do that. It reduces the amount of cars
Well,
parked
with
on
an
the
ordinance,
street.
you could do it legally now.
No, right,
I mean, I'm not
well,
trying to promote anything,
but
but
this says you
kids
have to
can
be
actually
going-
drive their cart to the snow cone, it's still north of Fur.
The way this
Says
one,
you have to go into the golf
the way this
course.
one's written, though,
this
says
was
you have to
not
go
all that,
to or
just-
from a.
It does, but I mean, you think
So-
there's gonna be carts going to and from everywhere anyway, so we're not going, where are you going? Oh, you can't, I mean, it's.
Can we have a less restricted?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is the only one.
But what-
And I have these lots of places, but this is the only one that's restricted to and from the golf course. Okay, I just wanted.
Can we have a less restrictive ordinance in a certain area?
Could we see an example? of what
I'm not
other
saying that because we all
communities
live out by Wakefield.
have done? I think that would
I
be
mean,
better.
I'm not discriminating. I mean, you're saying, can we have a less restricted?
I just don't wanna see carts crossing Fur, with the
No,
semis that come through.
No, I
you got a
agree.
battery
I
pack
agree
car
100%.
that's scraping and getting, I can't have that. That'd be, I couldn't.
I think
So I think north
Grove's
of
too far
Level,
south
north of
for
Fur,
me anyway.
go to the course and back. Just don't cross the state highway. That's why we put Grove. You and I talk Locust, that's always kind of been the general rule, but if you want to spread it out to where everybody's fair, just don't cross Fur. North of the highway, go to and from the golf course.
Course
So I
might need
can't
to,
drive from Wilshire?
Do I? Yeah.
course might need to change so that people can keep their carts if they don't live north of,
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I mean, if.
What do they charge to store a cart there?
It's about 20 or 30 bucks.
A month?
Mm.
It's kind of hard to make up, if you go build a building, it's kind of hard to make that money back at 20 bucks a month.
Well,
That's,
thing is, some people just, I mean, they can't drive them back and forth.
that's 50 carts though, isn't it?
yeah, it's completely full. You can't put another.
Maybe like the airport, you know, build some hangars.
They did.
Where?
They have a golf cart hangar basically, is what they have.
Yeah,
They
but there are
added
no
on to the
spots
cart
there.
they have now.
I think last week or the week before, there was one spot left. And that changes very fast. Someone pulls out and someone else.
Somebody's
pulls in.
waiting,
There's
they're
a
on the
waiting
waiting list to get in.
Yeah, there's a waiting list to get there.
All right, Bryce, will you,
Sounds like.
Yeah, why don't you just give me an opportunity? I think we've had good discussion. I've heard everything. Let me bring something back that reflects what I've heard, including the last comment, because I thought that was too restrictive too.
Thank you.
You know, if you want is Grove okay? Or do you want a higher street? I mean, what we're trying to do is prevent crossing
Right.
highways.
The only thing I don't like about this, it's not really it's really not even that it's restrictive, but on some levels, I mean, I had always heard that it was to Locust. That's what I had always heard.
Yeah, same.
So,
I think that was a gentleman's rule, I mean, there was no,
but there are other people that live
I agree.
south of Locust that, you know, they take the cart there, that were not required to have lights when they bought the cart, that were not required to have insurance on the cart when they bought the cart, that were not required to pay a storage fee and keep it there when they bought the cart. And now we want to just change it on them.
Well, that's not true. We said that we would recommend liability insurance. And I mean, you can't I mean, you're gonna have them coming home in dark without lights. You can't really, from a city, remove liability if you're gonna go ahead and go home at midnight without lights on. So it's an either or. You can't really.
But that part's already illegal.
I have done it and I will
No,
not
there's
do it
nothing.
anymore.
That's what they're saying.
Well, if you have a bicycle, you gotta have reflectors.
go home after dark?
Drive a car without lights after
Well,
dark.
or
And
actually,
you
you
have
gotta have
lights
lights
too.
now. in a
You
long
know, you
bike.
have to have lights on bikes too.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's either be home by dark or have
So that
lights.
part, they already have to cover, or they're just doing it at their own risk anyway.
Get pulled over and get a ticket. But
it's
I would see from
unfortunate.
our side, you don't want the liability on our side.
It's enforcement laws do change, and we go, oh, now I do, you know? I mean, it's
But we're not being
live.
specific about how the lights are installed.
That's true.
Flashlight,
I mean,
duct tape.
We're Oklahoma engineered. We could put all kinds of lights on that puppy, and LEDs are
No, you're
cheap.
gonna see
My guys-
bicycle lights mounted to the frames
We
and,
didn't specify that.
right.
But you can't go past Fur Avenue. I mean, they've never been able to drive them.
No, and I wouldn't want that anyways. I mean, that's not what I was trying to say. I just,
I do know there's a lot of popular communities these days that are welcoming the golf carts and the golf cart communities, and I think it's an opportunity, maybe we can look at, you know, and see. I do understand that our streets and things aren't built for that today, but
I'm just concerned, I see people driving over by in my ward that are not going to the golf course, and they're 15 years young and younger, because they took mom and dad's from over by the golf course and drove over by my house. Like, that concerns me, after dark.
Well,
That happens a lot.
another point, you gotta have a driver's license to operate a vehicle. You get your license suspended, well, I'll just get a golf cart.
That's right.
And that's, you know, that's,
they can do it with a lawn tractor.
I was gonna say a lawnmower.
lawnmower's different, that's a husband implement.
I know, I'm just, but I'm just saying they can,
Well, bicycles
And the
too,
motorized bicycle.
a tractor,
so.
There's always a way out
and
somewhere.
there's, like you were talking about.
Bryce, do you have enough from
I've
us
got
of what
it.
you wanna go back?
You the man.
Yeah, I mean, I've got people texting me about this issue. Good Perry residents interested in providing opinions on opinion messages, so. And I'm assuring them that it will be, it will be more liberal.
Okay.
Be more liberal. Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
So let us bring that back.
Do we need a motion to table?
You can direct that it be continued to the next meeting and reflects some of the statements that reflect the statements that were made today. I
So
think
moved.
that'd be good.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I need to ask one more question with what you were talking about.
Knew I shouldn't ask that.
One more.
One more at least. So you're saying on our agenda, there will be wording coming up that we can change stuff during a meeting, or? we
Yeah,
can't?
so that will meet they'll meet the intent. The whole purpose was that the public was not informed
Which I-
that items on that agenda were subject to being amended. Look, 9 of them agreed, and all the municipal attorneys in the state went, "What? Are you kidding me?" I mean, yet 9 of the Supreme Court justices all thought it was absolutely, that was proper. I mean, none of them are municipal attorneys. None of them know. I mean, we give.
When was this?
It was in May. It was in May, in Norman, and so, at the end of May, so.
When did the Supreme Court rule on that, though?
Yeah, at the end of May, yeah. Yeah, I've got but, so anyway, all the municipal attorneys were somewhat surprised by that because, you know, folks here complain, why are your items so many words, right? Well, guess what? The Supreme Court wants more words, right? I mean, not just consider approval. Of course, we're not going to consider, and we might consider approval and/or amendment, but I think I'm going to put it up at the top to advise the public in boldface that all these items are subject to amendment, addition, and so.
I know that throughout my tenure here, we've done that.
Oh, yes, we have. Yes, we have. And, but, you know, it wasn't a rule until, you know, it's now a rule, so we won't, well, you know, it's not that we won't do it. What we'll do is we will amend our agenda in a way that will make sure that we're on the right side of that Supreme Court case.
All right, roll call, please.
Wines. Yes. White.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Calderon.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you, Council. Item 10, consider convening into executive session to, 1, discuss the appraisal and purchase of certain real property related to the Upper Black Bear watershed project pursuant to Title 25, Section 307B3 of the Oklahoma statute as amended. Number 2, discuss the matter pertaining to economic development of the city of Perry to discuss the proposal to entice the location of a medically related business to the city of Perry to create additional jobs and payroll, as public disclosure of the proposal will interfere with the development and implementation of the proposal pursuant to 25 OS 307C11 of the Oklahoma statute as amended. Number 3, discuss a proposal pertaining to the economic development of the city of Perry to entice the location of business to the Perry Commercial Park to create additional jobs and payroll, as public disclosure of the proposal will interfere with the development and implementation of the proposal pursuant to 25 OS 307C11 Oklahoma statute as amended. Number 4, discuss the proposal pertaining to economic development in the city of Perry to entice a residential builder and developer to create a subdivision and build single-family and other dwelling units in the Woods Addition in order to provide for the housing for new residents, hereby to increase the economic development of the community. Disclosure of the terms of this proposal will interfere with the development implementation of the proposal pursuant to Title 25 OS 307 C11 of the Oklahoma statute as amended. Number 5, discuss current negotiation with police fire collective bargaining units pursuant to Title 25 Section 307B2 of the Oklahoma statutes. Motion, please.
Motion to convene into executive session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Coldiron.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Motion to reconvene, please.
So moved.
Got a second?
I said second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Got a bad ear too. Roll call, please.
Wines.
Here?
White.
Here.
Bell.
Yes.
Brown. Calder.
Hey, there were no
Yes.
closed sessions.
Stroller.
Yes.
Glad I'm not the only one in that
Take any action deemed necessary pursuant to executive session, including but not limited to approval of the fiscal year 2021-2022 collective bargaining agreement with the Perry Professional Firefighters Local 4242.
Motion to approve FY 2021-2022 with Perry Professional Firefighters Local 4242.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Wines.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Calder.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 13, any new business that needs to come before the council this evening? Hearing none. Item 14, motion on adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Wines.
Yes.
White. White.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Calder.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes. I was